Hello, everybody. I'm so excited. We're going to talk about how to find a buyer. First of all, if you're in this video right now, I'm assuming you already have something under contract. Congratulations. Take a second, and even if this deal doesn't close or anything like that, give yourself the well-due credit of going out there, doing the work, getting something under contract, talking to people, doing MMAs, money-making activities. Congratulations. If you have not got something into contract, I would rather you spend the time instead of watching this video, go making phone calls, sending messages out, doing MMAs instead of just watching buyers. Because once you find the deal, it's this. It's like the expressions from the movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you have a good enough deal, they will come. The buyers will come. So there's two reasons why people can't find or can't dispo, can't find the buyer and get rid of the deal. It's only two reasons. One, they're not networking enough, which we'll talk about how to do that right now in this video. And two, which is the most likely scenario. And every time I look at it, and someone complains about, oh, I need to find more buyers, and every time that they saying that, like you can have a million buyers, but if the deal isn't good, no one's going to want it. That's pure. The market is the best teacher in the world. I remember learning this lesson. I had a deal. It was in my local town here in Tooele, and I thought it was good. I thought it was a killer deal. My numbers seemed great. Sent it out. It's crickets. No one wanted it. Nothing. Nothing. Went back to the seller. Renegotiate. Got a $20,000 haircut. I sent it out, and then suddenly everyone was like, was jumping all over it. It was amazing. So that taught me something very important. Like even though my numbers might be right for me or the scenario, it wasn't a good enough deal. And also location does matter. So if your deal is like in a rural area or it's out in the sticks where the population like 6,000 people or something like that, like a really small town, there's not a lot of buyers that can be buying stuff out there. So you literally have to create a better like has to be a really screaming deal to do things out of like the main cities and things like that. So if you're doing rural towns, and I see it a lot because people are they can find like when they're comparing their deal with like something in the midtown. So Salt Lake City is the biggest city here in Utah. They're comparing. Oh, if these numbers were exactly the same over here in Salt Lake, it's a screaming deal. Absolutely, that's a different market though. There's not enough buyers out there to justify the price. That's why you're getting such a quote unquote discount, which actually probably market value for out there. You know what I mean? So you need to make sure that you're in the right area. And so with all that being said, if the deal, if you're not finding a buyer, it's probably because the deal's not great. The market's going to teach you that. It's telling you that what that is. Okay. All right. Congratulations, you found a buyer. Now I do recommend on the first go, depending on the scenario, because sometimes people have to close fast, right? That's one of the selling points that we can close quickly. But a lot of times they're okay giving you 3 weeks or 4 weeks to close. Normally, when I get something in contract now, I put it out for 15, 14 days, 2 weeks. And then that gives me enough time to find the buyer, to go do all the due diligence, everything you need to do. More than enough time. I can do it in a week if I have to, but no need to rush. Um, so if you're a first deal, I highly recommend putting it out there for 30 days if you can. And don't worry, if you have it in a contract right now for 2 weeks, not a problem. For a week, not a problem. I got you. Okay. All right. The easiest way to get a buyer's list is joining a million Facebook groups that are in your area. There's plenty of like just investors uh, Facebook group that are across the country. Those are fine, and you can find buyers that way too. But they're not they're far in between. But you can definitely do that as well. But I recommend finding local. So what I do, I'll go into Facebook and I'll type in real estate investing Utah groups, and then I join all of them, every single one that I possibly can. Then what I do is you make a post. In that post, you say, I'm a wholesaler. Me and my team are closing 3-4 deals a month. Who wants to be in my wholesale list? Now we say me and my team because you want to be truthful. Like if you're counting like the entire like the counting like myself or maybe like the community, you can say a lot more than 3 or 4 if that's the case. You know the real estate cheat codes community because it's shared credibility. So you can say those things and and be truthful. If they want to say like, how many deals have you personally closed, and you're like, oh, this is my first one, that's okay too. But don't volunteer information, right? So that's it. You do not. By the way, if you have a deal and you want to post it, never ever ever post the address on social media. Never ever post pictures on social media of the property. I mean, you might want to do like if I don't know, like just closing this deal and doing a selfie kind of thing, like after it's said and done, maybe okay, sure. But as far as like advertising, looking for buyers, don't do that because you're basically and Utah is probably one of the most stricter states as far as the rules for real estate, or as far as wholesaling goes. And so if you're posting the address, if you're posting the pictures of the property, because we are not marketing the property, we are marketing our rights to the contract. That's a big difference. If any point in time you are marketing the property, you are misleading and breaking the law. So you are not marketing. You have to be very, very specific. When you are marketing, if you want to put information outside, like uh, in the blast, in your email blast, social media posts. But that's why you can say things like, "Hey guys, I got a deal that's seller financing, 20K down in this town." That's it. No pictures. You just say, "Hey, I got this stuff. Who's interested? DM me. Drop your emails." And if they DM you or they stop dropping email or they're commenting, make sure to collect emails. Emails is the wholesaler's bread and butter. You need to collect all of the emails as much as you possibly can. So you make all these posts out there. Within an hour, you're going to have hundreds of emails. In an hour, you just got 100 wholesalers or 100 buyers, just like that. See, this is what I'm talking about. People are so focused, as it focuses. Yeah, focus on like, oh, I gotta find a buyer. No. Buyers are fine. You find buyers. It's fine. Okay. Now, mind you, a lot of those 100 are tire kickers. They're just in the groups. They're in the forums. They're analysis paralysis. That's fine, right? A good 10% of them are actually people that are really going to buy, and you don't need 1,000, 10,000. It's just an example. Okay. I just scrubbed my buyers list, my personal buyer list. I used to have, thousands and thousands. I scrubbed them for the ones that were not answering and not looking up, not opening my emails, not looking at my emails. I deleted them because they were only hurting me by me sending them an email that they never opened. So if someone's not opening an email at least once every 6 months of my deals, they are only hurting, because if I'm sending a massive blast out as far as like the email companies, Google and Gmail, all that stuff, that looks like spam to them. And so your emails will pop into the spam folder more often than not. You don't want that. So like I've scrubbed, like my recent scrub I recently did only have like 750 buyers. Now keep this in mind. Those are real buyers. I've had people that have an email list of tens of thousands of emails in their buyers list. And they'll ask me to send their deals out to my list to try to find a buyer because they can't find a buyer in their list. Does that sink home a little bit? So it doesn't matter as far as like the numbers, the quality, which you're going to shift through. And as you're finding, as people are starting to buy your deals, you're going to know who the real players are. You'll probably even get to a point where you'll start just calling, you start calling your particular buyers like, hey, listen, you're looking for a deal in this property. I'm going to send it out. In tomorrow. If you want to take a look at it now, let me know. Then send me the earnest money, and then don't even worry about. I won't have to send it out to everybody. Like I've had people like literally just like, yeah, absolutely. Here's the earnest money. Done. I got to a point where there's a couple of buyers I had. It was hey John, I got this for you. It fits this criteria. These are the numbers. And I shoot him this little text, and he's like, "Oh, sweet, awesome. That's exactly what I'm looking for." Here, send him some pictures, and yep, great, perfect. And he sent me the earnest money, like non-refundable, right then and there. You can build that list. Okay, so Facebook groups is a phenomenal way to do it. That's a big chunk of how I build my list. And every time that I send out a new deal, I usually post something, especially if it's mostly if it's creative financing, I'll post it out into like groups. And then so I'm growing my email list like getting newer people, new blood. Because sometimes people will start buying, and then they back off for a little while. Maybe they're just looking for a rental or whatever. Totally fine. So you constantly need to start building your list as time goes on. And so and another thing is too, like when you're doing a Facebook, people are going to blow up that post. I'll let that post sit for a while. And here's a little social media hack on groups. Whenever you post something in a group, it goes to the very top of the group, right? So it shows up on people's feeds and things like that. When anyone comments on that post, it goes on the top of that group again. So I have my post, and then time goes on. People are commenting, so it stays on top. And then after a while, people are putting a new post out. They're commenting another post, and yours goes down further down the feed. Pop it up. What at that point, I'll go in there and I'll start answering. Okay, got you added. Got you added. Got you added. I'll do it to 5 or 6, and then boom, that post is Facebook algorithms like, oh, that's another really good post. It's very engaging. So they'll start showing it to other people, and more people start commenting and start popping up. So this is what I call farming your post on the groups. And so as that slows down, you comment a few more, 5 more, boom, it's on top again. And Facebook thinks this is a great post. Start posting everybody. A friend of mine, Nate and Aubrey. So Aubrey, she put out there a post months ago, and people are still commenting on it now. Like it still pops up there. I see it on my feed. I'm like, oh, great. Like I've already commented on that post like twice, and it still popped up. And a lot of times people don't see the day. Like you're just seeing momentum. They're seeing your name, and so like when they do get an email, like, oh yeah, that's Aubrey. Oh yeah, Aubrey. They always throw stuff out there. I definitely want to be on their list. I definitely want to check out the deal, see what it is. Okay, so farm the posts as much as you can. It's gonna be very, very helpful. Trust me. Another way to find buyers and also potential deals, title companies. Think about this. The title companies, and depends what state you're in, right? So if you're Utah, you title company. Other places, other states, I don't know percentage, but some of them, they have to use attorneys, like real estate attorneys for the closings. So instead of title company, you just go into a lawyer's office instead, right? That specializes in that. Same basic thing, just different titles, different prices. That's it. So title companies, attorney's office, depending on your state, they know who's closing deals. So first, you find out what title company actually does that works with investors, that are investor friendly, right? Which you need to know anyways, because you want to go to a title company that knows and likes dealing with real estate investors, because that's you, and also knows and likes how to do a wholesale transaction. If they don't really know how to do a wholesale transaction, you don't want to do business over there. Remember, you guys are the prize. You're the prize. So you don't want to do business in somewhere like, when I'm asking title companies questions about if I want to work with them, I ask them, like, do you guys do a lot of wholesale transactions? Do you work with investors? Do you like working with investors? That's another question you need to put in there. Do you like working with wholesalers? If they're like, yeah, I mean, we've done a wholesale transaction. I think it was like last month. Yeah, I mean, it went pretty good. I'm like, no, that's not the answer I'm looking for. I want an answer where it's like, yeah, I just did 3 of them this week. It's great. I love wholesalers. They keep bringing me deals. That's the response you want. Like, oh, that person knows what they're talking about. That person can understand. They're probably, and the class of professionals you surround yourself with makes a big difference. You don't have to know all the answers. You just got to know who to ask to get the answers. That's it. That's the biggest thing. You don't got, like, I'm a dyslexic, learning disability guy that worked at Walmart for 12 years. You don't have to be smart to be really successful in this business. And I'm not saying I'm dumb either, but I'm not a genius. And you don't have to be like a super smart, slick person to get to be stuff. Just be genuine and honest, and work hard, work good work ethic, and surround yourself with professionals that know what they're talking about, know what they're doing. You're going to kill it. It's going to be amazing. There's no limitations to what you can do. Okay. So I'll talk to title companies, and also in the groups, ask for, hey guys, I'm looking for investor friendly title companies. They're going to give you all sorts of recommendations. You can also Google and start having those phone interviews. Now, if I'm looking for a buyer, I would have that phone call. And again, whenever you're talking to a professional, or anyone really, seller, professional, if you my other trainings, you heard me say this a bunch of times. The mindset you need to be in is like, how can I help you? How can I serve you get all of your goals and dreams? What can I do for you? And then by helping others, you're gonna get what you want. Okay. So I'll go to the title company and say, hey, listen, I'm with a group that we're closing 3 or 4 properties a month, or you can say like my goal is to close 3 or 4 properties a month. I currently have a deal under contract, and I would love to close it with you. Um, and I know that you guys are very, because we already had the conversation about wholesaling and buyers, and I know that you're phenomenal at working with wholesalers, investors, um, and if you drop names, who if you like got a recommendation to that person, drop a name because it just helps. Like, hey, so um, yeah, so I know you're great at doing this stuff, and I want to send all my business to you. Do you have who are the buyers that you've seen that are coming in like once a week, once a month, a couple times that are actually buying deals and closing them? Because I'm looking for a buyer for this particular property. I'd love to have you do the title work and we can close here. So now they're in their mind. They want to find you a buyer because guess what? They're going to get a closing. Not only that, they're seeing the long term benefits of helping out you as a wholesaler that you're going to be sending them deals your future pacing. My goal is to close 3 or 4 a month. I already have one under wraps right now. Who do you know? What's the first name comes to mind when I said I'm looking for a buyer that closes once a week, once a month, that's consistent. Who do you have? And they're going to give you phone numbers. They're going to give you intros. They're going to give you all that stuff. Okay, phenomenal. Like people that are actually closing deals. And by the way, title companies are a great lead source, which I've talked about in other professionals, the training of the professionals, because guess what? If deals are not getting closed, they know about it too. Like something's under contract and the buyer couldn't perform for whatever reason. Like, hey, hey Jared, here's this phone number and address of this seller. They tried to sell, but the buyer couldn't perform. Here you go. Oh, sweet, thanks. Yeah, we're definitely. You already have the title cut work already done, right? Yeah, we already did it. Sweet. Let me see what I can do. Go call the seller. Boom. Right. Okay. Um, Contractors too. So getting referrals from contractors, like, hey, who do you work for? Who keeps buying deals from you? The people that you know in the Facebook groups. Join contractor Facebook groups. Those are phenomenal lead sources, and they're great to have contractors under your belt. Maybe in your email blast you want to include that. It's phenomenal. Definitely include all this stuff. Okay, get this stuff. Okay. Um, Networking with other wholesalers. So I said earlier that I've with my measly 750 buyers, other wholesalers with thousands and thousands and thousands of buyer lists have come to me and asking to try to help dispo their deals. Now, admittedly, I have gone to other wholesalers and like, hey, help me find this deal. Help me find a buyer. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, couldn't, the um or maybe it's a little bit. So for example, I would do something like that if it's like a tighter deal or a very specific deal where only a specific buyer would be looking for it. So even though for most people this is not necessarily a great deal, but it's a great deal for someone that wants to just park some money in it and have it cash flow for the next 30 years. You know what I mean? So it's absolutely okay to partner with other wholesalers and do deals. So um, if you want to partner with someone, if you want to partner with me, for example, or whatever, right? Get with them and before you even do anything, get stuff inside, whether it's something written, whether it's through text message, through email. Obviously, the best way to do is with a joint venture. Actually get a doctor lawyerese and get things in place. Like paperwork keeps friends friends. Okay. So if you're having a hard time finding a buyers, or you just want to, I don't want to go through all that headache of going on Facebook groups and contractors and calling title companies. I just want to send it out, or maybe there's a time frame, like there's a crunch, like I get this sold quick. Cool, awesome. You can partner with a wholesaler, and whether that's whatever the percent you guys agree upon, could be 50, could be 40, 60, whatever it is, and that's only if they find you the deal, they find you the buyer, I should say. Emphasis on that. Only if they find you the buyer. So partner with them, get things written down, and they're going to send it out, right? Another thing, if people are sending you deals, like as if you're on a bunch of wholesalers list, this is another way where you can find deals this way, right? Or find buyers. So for example, if you're seeing a deal and or you joined a bunch of buyers wholesale list, and it's more of like it's someone like myself, like it's just like a single person doing throwing out the deal or something like that, or maybe a small team or throwing out the deal. Awesome. If they send it to you, like, I might actually have some buyers might be interested in something like this. So always talk to them, say, hey, listen, I might have a buyer that might be interested in this. Is it okay if I blast this out to my list? Is that right? Um, the wholesaler needs to know if you're planning to do that. And if they say no, you better not do that. None of this daisy chain crap. I hate it. But partnerships, JVs, 100%. I love it. Okay. So, and you can do percentages at a point, or you could just be like, hey, listen, you have it out for 210. I'm just going to throw mine out at 215. I'll get whatever on top, whatever makes sense. Right. That's, and that's fine. You can do that. And most buyers or most wholesalers like, yeah, I mean, if you want to send it out, that's fine. Anything over that price point, I mean, within reason, we can talk about it and split that. So what I'll tell them is like, one, you don't necessarily want to send it out as a higher price point because some of your buyers are the same as their buyers. And so they're going to know what you're like. Oh, I just saw this deal. Oh, Jared's asking $10,000 more than this other guy. Well, I'm just going to talk to this other guy. Why? And also kind of, it hurts your credibility a little bit because it's like, oh, you're just daisy chaining it. You're just it doesn't look well. Now, what I do, and like I said, I've done this multiple times. With this, the wholesaler comes, hey, help me find a buyer, or I see some opportunity. Like, want me to send it out to my list? I'm more than happy to. What I'll do, I'll send it out for the same price as they are, but I'll say like, hey, listen, if I get anything over, like just within 10,000, like just let me keep it, and if we do buy it at that price point, just give me this percentage of that. Like, okay, sure, that's fine, that's fair. If I can't find, now obviously if they find a buyer, they're just gonna go with their guy, which is totally fine, like not a problem. If somebody you don't really know, make sure you definitely have joint ventures set up in minimum of everything written down as far as like emails, text messages, those type of things to keep just to protect yourself. Obviously, an actual agreement is better than just a text message, but text message is helpful. Okay, great. So that's a phenomenal way to find buyers, to network with other wholesalers. Also in your email. So if I send it out, so it's the same price point, I'll put in there like, hey, by the way, and it's in the checklist of this actual phrase, right? So by the way, if you've seen this deal from other places, I'm partnering with another wholesaler, so don't worry about it. Or how do I phrase it? Don't sweat it, but make sure to reach out to me because I love you. And so more people reach out like, okay, cool, yeah. I mean, it's kind of silly because I love you because I don't, I may or may not even know this person. That's okay. It's a little bit more personable. And they're like, yeah, I want to talk to this guy. You don't have to say I love you part, but do it. Add it. It's good. Trust me. You can put a little heart in there, heart emoji. Phenomenal. I love it, love it, love it. So, great. If you're reading this, if you're watching this video, you got this far, you should have already had something under contract. If you're just one of those people that like, I need to have all the steps lined up for me first, and that's why you're watching this now, okay, that's fine. But so some MMAs, money making activities, right? So start reaching out to title companies that are in your area that are investor friendly, making posts on social media, in groups, and building your buyers list, talking to other agents, contractors, and even getting on as many wholesalers lists as possible, right? And start building those connections. Invite them to the community. And you can also like throw it in the community, like, hey guys, I have a deal in the deal tab. Does anybody have any buyers for this person? Or do you guys want it? Like, let's use the community so that you can find your buyer, so you can find the list. Okay. Now, as far as the dispo, there's the dispo training underneath this training will tell you what you'd be looking for and how to negotiate with sellers or how to negotiate with buyers, which is important. So phenomenal. Stay tuned for that. Look forward to seeing you guys. I love you all.